Welcome back to Kirkpatrick and Company, the podcast where we sit down with the people building businesses, driving innovation, and investing in the future of communities. Today we're joined by Missy Rogers from Noble Plastics to talk about leadership, advanced manufacturing, and why Grand Coteau became the perfect place for Noble Plastics to grow and make an impact right here in Acadiana. I'm Rob Kirkpatrick, and this is Kirkpatrick and Company. Welcome, Missy Rogers, to the Vault. I'm so happy you're finally here.
I'm excited to be here too, Rob.
Look, I love Festival International for so many reasons, but this year, Festival International was all sorts of people that wanted to talk about the podcast, and I got to nerd out with them about the podcast, and you were one of those people.
In the middle of Jefferson Street.
In the middle of Jefferson Street. How cool is that?
Very, very. You know, there's so many things in our community that really make it unique, and I think the whole region shares a personality of being approachable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have so much innovation here and so many investors here, and I think that's the difference. Is you know, you go to a market like New Orleans, and if you know people, that helps, but you can't just walk into a room and have the room of people accept you.
Mm.
And in Acadiana, it's very, in my experience, it's been very true that I can walk into a room. Now, I'm not shy.
Yes.
But I can walk into a room and the room welcomes me.
Mm-hmm.
And that really, I think, gets people, you know, when we're hiring someone or bringing someone in from another community, you know, the word I use is sticky. Can we get them sticky? You know, find out what they love to do, connect with them in that way, and show them how they can have that thing that they love here. And I think that's why Acadiana is such a sticky community, is people are welcoming, people accept a great diversity of interests and hobbies. And it's totally cool if we're walking down Jefferson Street. Now, I was not wearing like glitter and wigs and crazy clothes.
But you wouldn't stand out even if you did.
Oh, gosh, no. Except I have a glitter problem. So,
Well, you like it or you don't like it?
Don't like glitter.
It takes a long time to go away, is the problem with glitter.
Yes.
You know?
It does get everywhere.
I loved early in the COVID days. I can't believe it's 6 years ago, but early in the COVID days when someone was trying to explain, you know, how things spread and the, ability for COVID to spread. And someone said, so you put 10 people in an Airbnb or a hotel room for a Mardi Gras ball and one person has glitter. How many people have glitter at the end? Like, that's how COVID spreads. And it's everyone. And it's everywhere for 2 weeks. So I get you on the glitter.
Yeah. It's not my fan, but is it a good explanation?
It is. So I introduced you, Missy Rogers. People may know you from Noble Plastics. I got a chance to tour Noble Plastics in Grand Coteau probably, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. It's been a long time.
You got to come up. We're having a lot of changes.
And I want people to know, first of all, what is Noble Plastics? Why is it in Grand Coteau? And just, oh, by the way, it's in Grand Coteau, right off of I-49. You walk into this facility and there is so much innovation. There are so many things that just make sense. And that's why I wanted to talk to you, because we are talking about investment, and Noble Plastics could be anywhere. You might not believe it, but there are people who might say, we'd love for you to be somewhere, whether closer to a manufacturing center or a shipping center, or, to move things around. But you're here. So let's start at the ground level. What's Noble Plastics and what do you guys do?
So Noble Plastics, for over 25 years, has provided precision injection molding services. It means that we make plastic parts for other people. And the parts that we make are parts that matter. So we're not talking disposables or toys. We're generally talking about machinery components, energy sector pieces that go in assemblies that are oftentimes replacing metal. And so we're looking at a lot of engineered materials and performance requirements. So we've always, from day one, been very committed to technology, quality. When you set out to start any business venture, manufacturing or communications, you have a value proposition. You have a vision of what your market is and what your staff is and how those relationships are going to work. And so from the very, very first day that I went to a bank and said, please give me money so I can
Yes.
buy expensive machines,
Yes.
it was always about efficient, high quality, tight tolerance manufacturing. And it was a good spot for us to take. And we've gained a lot of business in that niche of plastics.
So I often think of what comes out of your facility are the things people know a larger product needs, but never thinks about where those components come from. You don't think about the one Lego head that has to be manufactured somewhere where the Lego bricks probably aren't because it's different shapes and everything else. But you don't think about how that happens.
Well, okay.
So how do you think about it? How do you know about it?
Great fun. I would love to make Legos.
Yes.
We don't make Legos. But yeah, it was very much, I'm a mechanical engineer. My husband Scott's a mechanical engineer. And look, talk to any creative in any industry. It's cool to make stuff. So making plastic stuff may not sound sexy to a lot of people, but we actually geek out and get really revved being the first person to hold a new product that didn't exist.
Yeah.
And now we're dropping like 1,000 of them a shift. That's a very cool feeling. And I think for our team, Scott's often described what we do as a real playground for mechanical engineers. We have material sciences, we have thermal sciences, we have fluid sciences, we have automation and robots. And so it's a pretty cool gig that we decided to craft.
Yeah.
And we crafted it here in Acadiana for a couple of reasons. We'd come here for work. Prior to starting Noble, we had both had experience in the energy sector, oil field, and I was in refining. And we loved the community. You know, we've been here over 30 years now, and I can't imagine myself living anywhere else. I grew up in New Orleans. He grew up in the middle part of the state. But, I mean, literally from the day we moved here, we were welcomed. And the energy, the vibe of this place, at the time that we started the company, I'd read some weird statistic. I don't know if it's still true, but at the time, there were more patents produced in this region than in any other area code in the
I had heard that
country.
too. Yeah.
So that tells you.
And private jet registrations.
Oh.
I had known at one point too.
That.
Well, again, you're talking about energy sector.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was an inexpensive place to have that registered.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, patents, huge. That means you have a ton of ingenuity here.
Well, and it fits in with the Cajun ethos, right? Survival against all odds. You know, you can kick us out of here, you can kick us out of there, you can put us in a place where we don't know what to eat, and we're going to find a way to thrive.
Yeah.
And I think that tenacity, that creativity, is something that you can't just pick up and find anywhere. You can find talent lots of places, and you can find intellect lots of places. But to bring a real joy and energy to your work is special.
Yeah.
And we find a lot of that here.
So you said 25 years. How is it different now from that day one to now what you're doing? I mean, I'm sure the technology is better, but the products are probably different.
The plastics themselves get better a lot. And so there's always been innovation on the material side of things. The machines get smarter and the screens get bigger, but at their heart, and they hate when I say this because they cost like $250,000 for the little ones.
Yes.
But they're giant hot glue guns. So injection molding of plastic, you're taking a pellet, you're heating it, you're pushing it, injecting it into a mold, and you cool it off. It's not rocket science. I mean, there is a lot of science to what we do, but probably 90% of what you're wearing, sitting on, or touching today was injection molded. And that, I think, is the big change. Everything in our appliances, everything in our vehicles, transportation, all of our electronics, they're all injection molded. And there was still a lot of that 25 years ago. I think the bigger changes that we've seen is automation.
Interesting.
We were very, very early adopters of full flexible automation, these 6-axis arms, these robots that move around in space. And the mindset at the time was, one, don't you like people? Robots are going to take our jobs.
Yes.
I said, no,
Scary.
I love people. But, there's more to human dignity than bending and twisting and lifting every day. COVID really brought that to bear because people didn't want those jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we've definitely seen a change in 20 years from robots are coming to take our job to, for the love of God, put a robot in this job
Yeah.
because
Repetitive motion, those sorts of things.
injuries, carpal tunnel, those things we're becoming more selective about the kind of work that we do and what we're willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
You think about a generation ago, a generation prior to me, when you were working in the 70s and 80s, and I mean, you were still having to do major improvements with unions and workplace safety, and people weren't always going home intact. This industry, most industries now, they're just cleaner than they ever were. They're more efficient than they ever were. They're safer than they ever were. And automation was a big part of that. So that's probably the biggest change I've seen in 20 years.
I was watching a documentary recently about when the first Boeing 747 was assembled. And the number of people, I want to say the number was like 9,000 people it took.
Oh, I believe it.
And you see that, and you also see even updated video from a manufacturing line of automobiles. It's people that are picking up a bumper and attaching a bumper all day long, and that's their thing. It's people get nervous about it. Kind of like, I guess right now the I guess present day worry is AI. Like AI is going to take everything, but then you still need that human mind to program it, to say this is actually how you do it. Like, we're not just saying go for it, much like you guys probably didn't tell the robots just, you guys figure it out.
Oh, no. Yeah, they're not autonomous. I promise you. They're really dumb.
Yeah.
They only do what you tell them.
Uh-huh.
But that is changing, and I think it's something that we'll see in this next generation. It's pretty exciting, a little scary maybe. But I remember before Scott and I got married, as I was approaching college and figuring out what to study, my grandfather was very influential on me and was a chemical engineer by trade, but worked in a manufacturing environment. And he was horrified that as a mechanical engineer at LSU, I wasn't going to be taught on a slide rule, that I was going to have a calculator.
Wow.
And this is the destruction of the integrity.
Yeah, you'll never have to think for yourself. Yeah.
And so part of me is I just go back to that. Like, better tools. We still have to understand physics and how things work. And I think you'll see a lot of that with, just like we see it with automation, you'll see it with AI. If you don't understand a subject and you ask AI to tell you about a subject, it can fool you.
Oh, yes.
Well, and they have like these, they want to satisfy the person.
Yeah, there's no self-awareness of themselves and what they don't know. I've had to point that out so many times. I had someone who was actually, I mean, you want to talk about starting a business that has lasted 25 years. I had a friend who was dead set on starting a watch competitor to Rolex because he just thought it was crazy. They can't make them. And now you have to buy, pre-owned Rolexes and everything else. And he had a business plan that he had just fed into ChatGPT. When I tell you, this thing made him feel like he was the watchmaker of the 21st century.
Oh,
and I'm reading this stuff thinking, yeah, but it's not a Rolex. Like, I understand what you're wanting to do, but there's a reason it's a Rolex, and there's a reason everyone wants them.
Yeah, but also look at things like when you were younger, did you have a turntable?
Cassette player.
Right?
Yep.
So you watch that evolution from turntable to 8-track to cassette to CD, and everybody's to a iPod player and all this. Well, and then there's a resurgence of vinyl, and people are going back to turntables.
Well, people have digital cameras now. I was on a trip recently, and there are people that have their little Sony digital camera taking pictures. And of course, I'm thinking, what, do you have to go home and upload them again? Because that's what we used to do before our iPhone took as good of pictures. And
Polaroids are back.
Polaroids? Yeah.
So I think some of it is there. You can always find a market for pretty much any product. It's whether you're going to be disruptive to your market.
Interesting.
So your watchmaker might not be disruptive, but he can probably find a marketplace for his handcrafted, genuine Swiss action watches.
Yes. I don't know.
Oh, I couldn't do it.
Missy Rogers is here from Noble Plastics. Also, someone I've crossed paths with paths with so many times that I just wanted to have this conversation. I find you so fascinating because I do think that we live in a time where things are just moving so quickly. And I think maybe the thought that people would have about a company like you own is like, oh, well, why wouldn't you just sell to the highest bidder and move it out of Acadiana? And, there are those things. There is ingenuity here. I know there are some business owners who have kept their customer service here because we talk to people differently. We speak to people with respect. How do you manage in that environment?
I think for me, there's not a one size fits all. If there were, everybody's business would look like everybody else's business, right? There's not only one answer. And so I think I've been thinking a lot about AI and the threat to business and how it can change buying habits, procurement processes, and things like that, because we do some government and defense work. And I have to go back to the basics. People buy from people they like and they trust. And so AI can be an information facilitator, but when something goes wrong, and something always does, look, from the very earliest days of forming the company, we said, look, trucks get lost, people get sick, machines break. I can't stop all of those things from happening, but I can be honest and transparent and communicate when those things do so that I don't fail to deliver, right? I think AI, automation, those are all work enablers. It's not going to make the human connection obsolete. It's going to make the human connection that much more real. And people who have genuine connection and genuine communication, I think, are always going to be insulated against the intrusion of an artificial platform or agent. So I don't worry about it. Do I think it's a tool that will help empower my team? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is it going to replace my team? No.
I always joke with my kids because, they're of an age where, reluctantly the older one has a cell phone because she does after school events. And how else do you stay in touch? But I can't tell you how many times we've had the conversation where she needed to get in touch with someone and it was like still this question mark, like, oh, well, I haven't heard back. And I'm like, did you just text or did you call? Well, I'm not going to call. I sent a text and I'm like, please call them, pick up the phone because people will still answer the phone. And honestly, in a professional setting, I find people like to still have the conversation. You can get through so much if there's an issue than to explain an issue. I would imagine even in the manufacturing side, even more to be able to explain this is what went wrong and here's why it's not working. I mean, I could put this into an email, but if I just explain it to you and say, hey, we have a solution, going back to trust, they may just say, we trust you guys. It'll be fixed. It'll be all right.
Yes, sending an email that says, we had a torrential rainstorm yesterday and the delivery truck didn't make it. It'll be delayed a day is a little bit of a cop-out. So it's a good rule to say, look, you can communicate good news electronically, but you always have to communicate bad news personally. Make the phone call. You can follow it up. You can document afterwards, but go to the effort and go to the trouble of making the phone call. It's something you'll see a lot of our young professionals, their Google foo is strong, right? They can find this supplier. They can get a data sheet on that. They can download the specifications on something. But that doesn't help you make that final decision. Am I going to have field support? Am I going to have technical people that answer my questions? I'm like, I don't know. Have you picked up a phone? Maybe you should call someone.
It's not all on Google.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not. And those recommendations, those relationships are sometimes the differentiator between looking like everyone else's bid and services or being a supplier of choice.
I have a former coworker who's become a friend who I just say is the eternal connector. Okay, she works in sales and I am convinced people buy from her because they've actually called her to be like, my plumber just canceled. Who do you know? And she has a person, okay? And she's not selling plumbing, okay? I just find being a resource like that is just such a, I don't know, it's like a dying art, and it shouldn't be because it's a secret weapon.
I think it's one of the things that I am always very generous with my time to either mentor or participate in these sorts of networking things. And I had someone years ago challenge me and say, "Gosh, Missy, you're so busy. How do you make time for this? Or how do you take these introductory client calls? Isn't your time, allocated to other things?" And I said, I have so many occasions where it came back to me tenfold. Even if I couldn't help them in that moment, the willingness to be helpful came back to me in multitudes. So it's one of those things, whether it's paying it forward or giving back. I think, again, it's your kind of outlook, right? It's are you looking at the world through a lens of scarcity and fear? Or are you looking at the world as full of opportunity and possibility, and that people are generally good and that projects can be beneficial? And so I always try and connect people. And, I've even had people say, "Well, is there a referral fee?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? Do you not live in this part of the country?"
Yes.
We like
That's
people.
what we do.
We introduce people. It's,
Yeah, that's fascinating. I want to come back to mentorship, but we're going to take a quick break. I'd love to tell our audience about Catalyst Bank and the work they're doing in the community. Investment has been the theme of this season of Kirkpatrick and Company. Missy Rogers is the guest today. Let me tell you about Catalyst Bank, and we're back to talk more with Missy Rogers coming up. Kirkpatrick and Company is brought to you by Catalyst Bank. If you're looking for a bank that actually knows Acadiana, you want Catalyst Bank. They've been serving the community for over 100 years, and that's not just history, that's trust. Catalyst Bank is built for local businesses, for local families, for real life. Their mission is simple: be a catalyst for economic growth right here at home. You get the best of both worlds: big bank technology, mobile access, and digital tools that keep up with you, and something you don't always get anymore: real hometown service. Call a branch, a real person answers. Need a loan? Decisions are made locally. That means faster answers and more flexibility. From commercial lending to personal banking, they're here with you for every step. Catalyst Bank, fueling business, improving lives. Visit catalystbank.com or stop by a local branch today. Missy Rogers, my guest and my friend. She's company today in the vault. Thank you so much for being here. Just such a great conversation. We left off talking about mentoring. And, I never realized the struggle even that I had in finding a mentor or asking for a mentor, because sometimes I feel like it's a little bit, I don't know, mischaracterized here, that it's a sign of weakness to ask for help. And then I worked outside of this community for a while, especially in tech, and there were CEOs who had competitor CEOs as their mentor. And I remember asking in one of these very specific cases, how do you talk to him? How is he your mentor? And he's like, well, we don't talk about the businesses.
That's right.
We talk about the skills, and we talk about the interests and that sort of thing. So let's talk about that.
Yeah,
Some really great mentors in our area.
There are. Shout out to Joe Zanko, the sponsor of the show.
One of the best.
Great mentor and friend. And I think part of it is, again, that your outlook on life is, if you're open to learning new things, you need to learn them from people who are doing really well at something. And I don't care what successes you achieve in your particular business, in your particular life, there's always so much more to learn. And if you can adopt the habits and commit the time to being a lifelong learner, mentorship just kind of happens, whether you plan it or not. To me, I think a lot of things have changed. When we were talking a little bit ago about what's different from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
When I started my career, look, I just went to my 40th high school reunion. So,
Yeah.
total honesty, like, you own the gray hair.
Well, you do. That's why I saw I own the thinning hair on the top. There's a lot of wisdom in that head now. The hair can't cover up the head,
Well, better that due to activity than inactivity.
Yeah. Yes.
But when I first started having business mentors, they were very much formally structured, right? It was your supervisor, it was your manager. There was formal performance reviews. You went to formal classwork and training. And I think what we've come to understand as we progress through challenges to expense accounts and travel costs, pandemic issues, lifestyle, people, once you've got kids, it changes your availability, mentorship needs to be beyond and outside of just your supervisor. And so whether it's a group of industry specialists, like an ASHRM assembly of people in that space, or I'm in a plastics industry association. You also want to mix with people outside your industry. I think that's when so much of the Acadiana community opened up to me. You start a business, you got your nose to the grindstone, and without realizing it, you start to get these blinders on because you're fighting distraction. You're trying to stay super focused to serve your people. They're worth it. All your energy has to go here, and then you kind of pop up out of the ground like a groundhog. You go, oh wait, you mean there's like education programs that the state sponsor? I should be using. Oh wait, you mean there's professional societies locally and chapters of this that my people could benefit from? And then you think, actually, if I'm serving my people, there's a difference between being the person whose focus is inside the organization on direct management and the person whose focus is outside and is a connector.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of how my role has changed. I'm much more in that connector role. And so having been mentee and mentor, as I tell one of my favorite mentees, we're mental
Yes.
together. She and I have a great relationship. We're in completely different age categories. We're in completely different industries in different parts of the state. And I know that if I ring her phone right now, she's going to drop things and help me.
Mm-hmm.
And if my phone rings, which it's in the other part of the room, but if
I'll let you.
If this watch
Yes.
started beeping and she needed me, I would take a break.
Yeah.
So I think mentorship doesn't have to be a big, complicated, formal thing. And I think I would like to see a young professional come to me and say, hey, how can I get more professional development? Is there a mentoring group? I've been encouraging my team to be more active within both industry and community groups.
I want to talk about that, about community involvement and community investment. So obviously, Noble Plastics continues to invest in Grand Coteau. It's not Lafayette. It's not New Orleans. It's not Dallas. I mean, we could continue to go up the tiers. Why is that? Or how important is that?
Well, full transparency, I did not seek property in Grand Coteau, although it is a lovely community. I'm thrilled to be there. We had started the company in Lafayette Parish in an industrial park in a rented building. And you start growing and you start looking for properties to purchase. And unfortunately for me, the month that I decided to buy my first big girl building was the month that Katrina hit.
Wow.
And the real estate market went crazy and the insurance market went
I was going to say, if you were south of I-10,
that's right.
Your price skyrocketed.
So we had put in a bid, full price bid on a property south of I-10. And that property listing got taken down after the levee broke and relisted at 5 times the price.
Wow.
And I had machinery on its way. I had a performance contract. There was not a lot of options to my timetable. And so I had to find something to buy. And the building I'm in wasn't even for sale. But we met with a great property owner in the parish who really believed in investing in St. Landry Parish. He loved St. Landry Parish. He wanted good things for St. Landry Parish. And so we bought that property 20 years ago. And I think part of it is the affordability. Part of it is, manufacturing is not a high margin business. And so you have the realities of where you can be.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to be in something super convenient to my family and my house and everything else. But the reality is I have to build a business. And so long as I have good access and good power and good people, I could be anywhere. And we do get solicited from other states.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Well, you go to national conferences, you present or speak at national conferences, you get covered in a magazine or something, and your inbox starts to get flooded with economic developers who want you to move to South Carolina or Florida.
That has shovel-ready land ready for you.
We'll build to suit.
Yes,
It happens a lot. And not to say that never is an option, but I as of this moment, have never wanted to be a 15 location conglomerate across 7 states.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe those that follow me will want that.
Yeah.
But it's something where when we bought that land, we are what, 7 miles from the parish line? It's not like we're far out of Lafayette.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I mean, what are you? Probably 15 minutes from the
15 minutes
from the I-10, I-49. Yeah, we're right downtown.
Downtown, 15 minutes downtown. So it's sometimes mentally people think that's so far away. If you live in other cities, as I have, people think a 45-minute commute is nothing.
Yeah.
And in Lafayette, we're still a little bit about being 10, 15 minutes away.
You can go from one side to the other in under a half an hour.
That's right.
Probably in traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, New Iberia to Opelousas is closer to an hour than to 35.
Yeah.
But pretty much the whole region you can cross pretty easily. So the challenge of being rural, of course, is that you don't have great public transportation. And it's one of those things that 20 years ago, before, multiple hurricanes and pandemic and all this, you could see the natural growth was moving northward. Now, of course, you've got a tremendous amount of development on the south side of town. You've got Youngsville, Broussard, Liberia blowing up. But you're going to run out of direction and sprawl in that south thing. And that one of these days, the corridor up I-49, you will not see the parish line. You will completely fill, as a bedroom community, everything north from Karen Crow through Opelousas.
I mean, we see what's happening already in Karen Crow right along I-49, and then the development then just starts to move away from I-49.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is not even really on topic, and you don't even have to have an opinion about this, but when we've talked about a loop around Lafayette, that was when they've looked at it and it was like, I don't know, Dusson, Milton, Youngsville kind of area to at least do that. The need may end up being the other quadrant, the northwestern quadrant.
Well, if you or I had access to an easy button right now, we'd put a loop around Baton Rouge, because that's a struggle bus.
Yes.
But
one lane. Whenever people bring it up, it's like it's the only place
from
coast to coast,
to Florida,
that it goes down to one lane unless you know how to properly use that turning lane.
Well, they are fixing it right now, but
is it underway?
Oh, they have stripped off the exit only lane. It is now 2 lanes.
Okay,
that still have to merge into one.
It's always been. You just had to get off before Washington came along.
Well, if you think about what we all have to use as an alternate to the basin, we run up 190.
Yep.
So that 49 connector from 190 to 10 is important. I don't know that a loop would need to be there. I think we have bigger investments to make. The flyover, the 49.
I was going to say, we can't. We're 30 years into that project.
Yeah, we need 49 flyover before we worry about a loop.
I want to ask about 5 to 10 years from now and the future of Noble Plastics. Like, what is something that just really excites you that you think could be on the horizon? Is it a new technology or?
There's a few. I'm not the creative one in our pair, our marriage or our company relationship. My husband is the visionary, but the work that he's doing with some of the AI tools and some of our shop intelligence approaching Industry 4.0 and Internet of Things is very exciting. Again, for the reasons we've already enumerated, you don't want to remove people from the business. You don't want to remove people from the process, but the manufacturing itself gets more and more automated all the time, which means that the jobs in factory and manufacturing change from labor, bend and twist and lift, to more intellectual. It's my teams, they're quality control. They're not bending and twisting and lifting. They are learning how to use tools. They're learning how to use machinery. They're learning how to reset machinery. And so I think a lot of that will continue to change and evolve. You won't see, or you shouldn't see, sweatshop conditions, certainly not in this country. And so I think that'll continue to change. I think you'll continue to see plastics lighter and stronger and clearer all the time.
Yeah.
Shout out to Star Trek and transparent aluminum. You might be old enough. Did you see the
Well,
Star Trek movie
yes.
where they transported whales?
And I'll tell you, my car has transparent silver in between the panes of glass to keep the heat from hitting the top of your head. And when they said that, it was the first time I'd actually thought about that. Like this is out there. Like this is Jetsons type stuff.
Well, the sunroofs, everything else, there's a lot of plastic replacement because it's durable, it's chemical resistant. So those things will keep happening as long as we want lighter and smarter and more fuel efficient transportation. You'll continue to see metal replacement into plastics. Everything, all of our medical devices, all of the inspection tools. If you go to a MRI or a breast exam or an X-ray machine, we want the speed, we want the efficiency of digital tools, and those digital tools are generally housed in plastic housings.
Yeah,
knobs and things.
Well, incidentally, that's exactly what I said to anyone who has given me a hard time when I bought the Tesla, and people were mad about the oil and gas industry that I wasn't supporting. And I had to say, do you realize how much petroleum products are in the injected plastic molds that are inside this car?
Yeah, we're generations away from threatening fossil fuels, so everybody needs to calm down a little bit.
Missy Rogers is here. Let me take a quick break here. We're going to come back with everyone's favorite part of the episode, a group of lightning round questions. And hope you're ready for them. They'll be super exciting. Noble Plastics, located here in Acadiana in Grand Coteau. Now you know the backstory of how they ended up there. Really cool stuff. We continue our conversation next. Kirkpatrick and Company is recorded and produced inside the vault at Rock and Bowl in downtown Lafayette. Rock and Bowl is a Louisiana tradition, and their team is ready to host your next event in downtown Lafayette. Contact Robin at 337-534-8880 or visit rockandbowl.com. Rock and Bowl de Lafayette, a proud supporter of Kirkpatrick and Company. Welcome back to Kirkpatrick and Company, and special thanks to my friends at Rock and Bowl. We are inside the vault. This is a pretty cool little space, huh?
It is, actually.
I like to call it, this is like my adult treehouse. I have to have the real office upstairs, and I don't keep gadgets up there because then I'm distracted. I do the real work,
I think I'm going to go find my lucky number. And
I'm
going to claim one of these boxes, and I'm going to leave like a Noble sticker and a pen
I love
and
that.
a thing so you have a memento.
I love that. You can pick whichever one you want. That's
Kate's
open.
going to fix it up. We're going to get a couple of plastic parts and some Noble paraphernalia.
Look,
now your guests can start to claim boxes.
Put some injected parts that I can have people guess what it actually is. Because I'll tell you, there were a couple things we looked at whenever I was up in, I think you were doing some sort of military project, and it was this thing that I could have not told you what it was, where it came from.
I probably couldn't have told you what it was either. It's military.
You're right. Okay, we have reached the point of the episode, the lightning round questions. Missy Rogers, what's one word that describes the overall culture at Noble Plastics?
Oh, gosh. Innovative. You have to make a place where it's safe to fail. And nobody ever came up with a disruptive idea or process that wasn't in a place that was tolerant to stretching the boundaries. So, yeah, I think I can claim innovative, sure.
All right. Coffee meeting or shop floor walkthrough?
Shop floor walkthrough.
I remember you gave the tour when I was there the last time. Just a ton of stuff. How many people are at your facility? How many people work there?
Well, we have two locations, and so the total company count today is like 61 or 62. It's split about 40-20, the main office in Grand Coteau and the north plant in Opelousas. For now, they're both growing.
Yes.
So in a couple years, we can revisit what my new numbers are. But yeah, it's a good bunch of people.
So don't meet Missy for coffee. Let her take you on a tour.
Yeah. Look, that's how we close deals. When people see our floor and they see the technology we employ every day, because like I said, humble brag, but not every shop looks like ours. And I'm proud of the work that we do.
You must have got these questions, because the next question is, what's the biggest misconception about manufacturing today?
Oh, that it's dirty. Like everybody says we want U.S. manufacturing, and the tariffs are important to bring the infrastructure back, but nobody seems to want their kid in manufacturing. And then you talk to them about, well, who wants to design things? Oh, I want to design. That's manufacturing. Who wants to work with robots? Ooh, I want to work with robots. That's manufacturing. And so I think we have a burden to educate parents so that they will accept their kids' interest in work that sometimes requires a college degree and sometimes doesn't. There's a lot of good programs in trade schools, high schools, and industry certifications that can get you in shops like mine.
Okay, I wrote this as like, what's your CEO goals? Like, who do you look towards as someone who's really rocking and rolling with how they're leading and what's going on with their company?
I have several people outside the community that are in my industry who are mentors and inspiration to me. They tend to be very visible inside their communities and very visible inside their companies. And so I think I'm very much like that. A day that I'm behind the screen at my desk might be a necessary day, but it's not a great day. The better days are advocating for our brand, advocating for our people.
And finally, Missy Rogers, what is one leadership habit you would suggest to everyone?
Say yes. Say yes more times than no. My whole career has come about by the opportunities afforded me from some side project I said yes to. It was this piece of software. It was this weird niche research paper. It was this presentation at a national thing. It's the advice I give anyone I've ever mentored is if you just try and perform inside the job description the company's given you, you're going to be stuck. You have to own your own career, and you have to be the disruptive force for your own career. Say yes to things, add a new skill, learn a new habit, be mentored by someone else outside your business or your industry. Grow.
Missy Rogers, thank you so much for this conversation. I'm so glad we had our run-in on Jefferson Street. You know,
too.
You caught me, by the way, that block of Jefferson Street during festival, I call it my drive-through window. When I've had enough walking around and I'm either hot or the kids are with us and they're hungry or tired, I just like to park in that block and just let people just come to me. You didn't do that. I found you. I saw you. Thank you so much. It's been great.
Thank you so much for having me, Rob.
Missy Rogers, our guest today on Kirkpatrick and Company. Special thanks to our sponsor, Catalyst Bank, and also the team at Rock and Roll in downtown Lafayette, where we are right now at the Vault. Another episode is coming 2 weeks from today.